Welcome to week 4. As we move deeper into the term, we are shifting our focus from the broader philosophy of disciplinary literacy that we've really been diving into, thinking about the identity and how do we make sure we're in this insider discourse, to thinking more immediate and practical applications you can take back to your classroom. And my hope is that the mindsets we've been building around text engagement and all of the ways that we communicate through our disciplines have been building around and are coming to start to take root in your professional application in your classrooms. A perfect example of this philosophy in action is the professional article that you're reviewing this week. Miss Collins, a former student in this very course, implemented these strategies in her own classroom and wrote this article to report her findings. It's a great example of how these shifts in instruction can fundamentally change student success. I hope you enjoy reading as much as I did. I also included a video so you can start to see some classroom applications of these concepts as well. This was one of a math classroom, and I specifically included math since it's a discipline that we really think has the hardest time having the practical application of literacy. But you can see how disciplinary literacy takes root in this math classroom. As a quick housekeeping reminder, in addition to your professional article review, you have a discussion board post and a reading check due this week. Our focus this week is driven by a single, vital, essential question that has driven our study this week. The question is, what instructional practices prepare students for the reading of complex disciplinary texts? In Chapter 4, Doug Buell shares a powerful epiphany from his first year as a social studies teacher. He assigned a dense textbook reading accompanied by a locate and copy worksheet. The result? The assignment landed with a thud. One student even crumpled the paper and threw it on the floor. Buell realized that while he had given his student an assignment, he hadn't actually provided instruction. He hadn't prepared them to successfully work a complex text. This highlights our first major takeaway. Instruction must precede the reading. If we want students to succeed with complex disciplinary material, we cannot launch them into a cold reading and expect comprehension to happen by accident. In the video, we encounter the concept of watering up rather than watering down. Often, when faced with students who struggle with complex texts, especially English language learners or students with reading gaps, the instinct is to simplify the content. However, disciplinary literacy asks us to keep the expectations high, but water up the support. To prepare students, we must move away from focusing only on the products of comprehension, like answering 5 questions at the end of a chapter, and start focusing on the process of comprehension. This means explicitly teaching students how to use the text structures, how to monitor their own understanding, and how to treat reading as an act of inquiry. Traditionally, the classroom flow follows a read about it and then talk about it model. But when students are mismatched with the text, meaning they lack the background knowledge the author assumes they have, they often disengage. And I'm sure many of you have seen this happen before. To answer our central question, we must recalibrate this flow to actually talk about it first, use front loading to build or activate background knowledge, read about it. Students dive into the text with uh, deep. Students dive into the text with a purpose and the necessary context to actually engage with it, and then talk about it some more, or deepen the understanding through post-reading discussion. By front-loading, we ensure that students aren't just waiting for the teacher to tell them the answers later. We are empowering them to find the meaning themselves. The instructional practices that prepare students depend entirely on the knowledge gap present in the room. Chapter 4 outlined 3 specific scenarios. Scenario 1, refreshing prior learning. If students have the knowledge, but it's a little dusty, you can use a student-centered review, like a quick write or something writing for 1 to 3 minutes on a specific prompt, which forces every student to activate their own schema before reading. Scenario 2 is pooling distributed knowledge. When some students know and others know very little, we can use a collaborative brainstorming. This allows students to use their peers as access points, building a collective base of knowledge that supports everyone. And in scenario three, where we're building new knowledge, and this really looks when the text is a complete mismatch for the class's current knowledge. You must build it from scratch. This might involve previewing pictures, making predictions, or using short video clips to provide a visual and conceptual anchor before they face the vocabulary dense text. As the video reminds us, these strategies, activating prior knowledge, predicting, and questioning, are critical for all students, but they are life support for our EL students. They provide the clues needed to navigate the specific structures of informational text. As you read Ms. Collins' findings this week, look for how she used these specific strategies to bridge the gap between her students and the curriculum. Remember, our goal is to mentor students in how to work a text. By shifting our instruction to prioritize what happens before the book is even opened, we transform reading from a chore into a successful act of informing oneself. I look forward to seeing how you plan to water up your own instruction in this week's discussion board.